What is going on, everyone? You are now listening to episode 24 of Chase the Vision with Isaac Mashman, the podcast. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that completely changed my life. It completely changed my attitude, my perspective towards success, and really accomplishing what it is I want to accomplish in life. And before I go into that, though, I want to go ahead and go over, I guess you could say, some housekeeping rules. If you've ever listened to Real AF with Andy Frisella or the MFCEO project, you're kind of going to know what I'm about to talk about. Something that he talks about is the fee. He mentions a fee for his podcast, and I want to adopt a similar strategy to my own show. Now, this fee isn't in money. I'm not asking you to send me money or to subscribe to a Patreon or any of that crap. And I'm also not going to blow up and take 10, 15 minutes of your time with a bunch of advertisements. I value your time way too much to do that, and I also value my own time and my own brand way too much to do that. If I ever run an advertisement, it's going to be either from me and promoting my services or my products, my company, or it's going to be maybe a friend of mine who has a company that I believe in 120%. It's never going to be a product that's a drop-shipped product from Alibaba or just anything. That's not going to happen. No need to worry about that. But in order for this show to grow, and in order for me to really expand my message and to help as many people as I can better chase after their own vision, I need your help. So this is why I ask you, if you get any ounce of value from this episode or from every single episode that you listen to, please share it with one or more friend of yours. Share it with somebody who you know will get just as much value from it as you did. That would mean the world to me, guys, and that would make me, I'd be so appreciative if you did that. That is the way that this show is going to grow. I'm not about to spend thousands of dollars. I'm not to the point yet to where I'm able to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on advertisements like some of these other podcasters, trying to get their show to grow. I want this show to grow organically, because that is also going to show me that what I'm doing is having a positive impact on a whole variety of different people. So with that being said, I'm going to hop into what I'm going to be talking about today. So in episode 23, I talked about the 3 habits of high-performance people. Now, not just the 3, because a lot of high-performance people have a variety of different habits. They have a lot of different things that they do on their day-to-day life that help them become successful. I just mentioned 3 that really stood out to me and 3 that I am focusing on. And for more of that, go listen to episode 23, this other episode that I published, which is literally right before this episode. But I'm going to go over those 3 really quick. Habit number 1 was investing into themselves, investing into self-development, investing into mentorship, always growing, consistently looking for new things to grow and improving their lives. Habit number 2 that I discussed about was valuing their time. They valued what they did with their time. Are they doing things that are productive and conducive to their success, or are they doing things that are bringing them down? High performers value their time, which also means valuing who they spend their time with and what they spend their time doing. Habit number 3 is not so much of a habit, but more of a lifestyle, and that's having the balance between selflessness and selfishness. In order for you to bring up other people around you and to help other people in your lives, you first have to help yourself. And high performance people help themselves, and then they're able to help more people on a much larger level than they would have been able to do if they hadn't helped themselves first. So those 3 habits are 3 different things that I really encourage you guys to study and to incorporate in your life. But with learning new information, and with learning a new ideology, a new ritual, a new business practice, a new business strategy, really anything in life, there are 4 different stages of learning. Now, this is something that really nobody talks about. Very few people learn and very few people study. But it is so important for you guys who are trying to go and achieve massive things in life, who are going and trying to, people who have visions of greatness. The entire point of this podcast is to help people from all walks of life who are pursuing all different things better chase after their vision. Chase is an active word. It is a pursuit after something. I want you guys to pursue whatever it is in your life, whether that's being an athlete, whether that's being a musician or an artist, whether that means being an entrepreneur. So that means that I'm going to be covering a whole bunch of different areas, but in essence, every single principle that I am covering is going to help you no matter what area you're in. So in order to have an understanding of something new, of a process, there are 4 different stages of learning. The first stage is being unconsciously incompetent. Unconsciously incompetent means that you do not know that you do not know. You do not recognize that the habits that you're doing in your life are not conducive to your success. You don't know that what you're doing is really destructive. If anything, you spend your life drifting. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, mentions the habit of drifting in some of his phenomenal audios. There's an awesome audio on SoundCloud where he talks about different methods and different, he calls them keys to success. And most people spend their life drifting. Excuse me, I want to digress for a second. That audio, there is that audio on SoundCloud, but there's another audio called Outwitting the Devil. And in that audio, he talks about people who drift. They don't know why they're living life. They wake up in the morning without knowing why, without an understanding, with no purpose. They go to their jobs without knowing why they're going to their jobs. You ask them why they're doing and why they're living the life that they're living. For the most part, they can't answer that question. They're unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you don't know what is a success habit. You don't know how to brand yourself. You don't know how to market yourself. You don't know how to get into good shape yourself. But if someone doesn't bring it to your attention, you don't know that you don't know. That is like the very first step of understanding. Then the second stage is you're consciously incompetent. You recognize that you do not know. You recognize that you do not have the information that you need, or that you're not doing the things that you should be doing in your life that will be conducive to your success. Let's say you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. You're hanging out with people who don't have their priorities straight. They're going to invest money in weed before they're going to invest money in business. They're going to invest money on a pair of shoes before they invest money ever investing into themselves. You're hanging out with all these people, and you consciously know that you shouldn't be hanging out with them. You know that the actions that you're doing today are not going to get you the results that you want. You recognize that in order to become successful, you're going to have to do a lifestyle change, and you recognize that you're incompetent. That is the second stage of learning, becoming consciously incompetent. And at this stage, this is when you have a decision to transition from the stage known as conscious incompetence, and then make a change in your life, and then become consciously competent, which means you know that you are doing things that are conducive to your success. So if you take those 3 habits that I talked about in episode 23 and you apply them into your life, one, because you have the awareness, you're going to be consciously incompetent, but as soon as you apply them, then you're going to be consciously competent. And through a repetition of action, and through a repetition of conscious behavior, you're going to eventually move into the stage called unconscious competence. This is when it becomes so firm into your brain that you do not even think twice about doing those habits. It's normal to you. It is 100% routine. You don't think about blinking, do you? You've probably breathed 100 times plus just in the past 10 minutes of listening to this episode. You didn't think about breathing one of those times. That is because your subconscious mind is doing the work for you. The subconscious mind is 30,000 times more powerful than the conscious mind, and controls and dictates habits. It dictates our actions. For example, when you first started driving, you thought you were going to crash that car. You thought you were about to make a wreck, an accident. You were like, I'm gonna die. Then as you started driving more and more and more, it became normal. It became second nature. It got ingrained into your subconscious mind. You're unconsciously competent. You know, you're getting in the car and you're driving off a routine. You're driving home from work, you're driving to school, and you're not thinking about driving. You're just driving. You're paying attention to your surroundings, and you could be listening to music at the same time, and you know how to drive. You're unconsciously competent. But when you were a little kid, You didn't know what the difference was. Like, you didn't know what driving meant. You just knew that your mom was in this vehicle driving somewhere. You were going to a destination. Then you get a little bit older, and then you're cautiously incompetent. You know that you don't know how to drive. And then you begin to drive. You become cautiously competent, so you know the basics, you know what you're doing, and then you eventually become uncautiously competent to where you're driving without even thinking about it. This is very, very powerful information, and I'm trying my best to help you guys understand it, because as soon as I understood it, I was like, wow. I started taking the information that I was learning, and I knew that I didn't know what it was, and then I started to learn it. I started to listen to audios. I started to change my subconscious programming. I started to establish these habits and these routines, and now I'm finally getting to the point in my life to where it's becoming second nature to me. It's becoming, a part of who I am, a part of my being. It's so, so powerful, guys. So the first stage of learning is unconsciously incompetent. You do not know that you do not know. Then you have consciously incompetent. You know that you do not know. Then you have conscious competence, which means you know that you know what you should be doing, and you're actually actively doing it. Then you have unconscious competence, which means it's like the back of your hand. You know it. You know it, and you're doing it without even thinking about it. You should always be striving to hit that unconscious competence level, because that is when you're going to see massive results in life. When it becomes, normal to you, when it becomes second nature, that means that you changed a habit that was set prior to you. The habits of your youth have now changed into new habits of adulthood, new habits of success. You changed your programming. You changed your paradigms. A paradigm is basically the way that you view life. It's a way that you view a certain thing. A paradigm is a perspective. And a paradigm is formed based off of the opinions of other people and based off of the information around us. When you're younger, your first couple of years of life are when your subconscious programming and your perspectives and your paradigms are influenced more than any other time. What your parents speak, the way that your parents speak, the way your parents view money, the way your parents view politics, the way your parents view religion. There's a reason why you're similar to your parents, unless you've changed. If you've consciously changed, that is because you were raised with paradigms. You change your paradigm and you reprogram yourself. Man, it's powerful. Very, very powerful information. So guys, that is all I have for today's information, or for today's podcast rather. Thank you so much for listening. And guys, if I can tell you one thing, it's to always live without limitations. We're infinite beings. We have so much potential locked up within ourselves, and there are always things that we can learn. There are always new levels of growth. There are new levels of abundance. And it's like, if we are able to discipline ourselves and have that self-control and work on ourselves, the opportunities are absolutely endless. And I want you guys to understand that. If you're not following me already, I'd greatly appreciate it if you follow me at Isaac Mashman on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, every single social media platform. You can find me at Isaac Mashman, and go to my website, isaacmashman.com. Now, if you're an artist and a musician, I want to have this special message to you really quick. I am working with, my goal for 2020 is to work with a total of 500 artists, at least 500 artists. And my goal is to basically help you guys succeed without ever signing to a record label. The music industry is made for artists to really fail. It's to where the artists do not make nearly as much money as the record labels. And if I could help you guys succeed without ever having to sign on that dotted line for a record label to get a record deal, that is huge. So I got a lot of amazing things that I'm working on behind the scenes. So artists and musicians, make sure to hit me up. And with that being said, guys, stay safe, stay blessed, and make sure to pay the fee. I'd appreciate it. Share it with a friend, share it with a family member, anybody who you think would get value if you got value. Much love.